So without further ado, let's get this party started. Welcome, 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 Woman Up. I am your hostess today, Deborah, one of the lioness leaders here at Woman Up. For those of you who have not watched one of these Facebook Lives before, welcome. We are so happy to have you. We try to do these a few times a month to introduce you to some of the amazing leaders, legends, influencers inside the real estate space who have truly leaned in, become our champions, who've written amazing checks to help us do what it is that we're doing here. And Miss Ameeta Jain is one of those fabulous lionesses. So what I would love for everyone here to do is, if you are watching it live, make sure that you ask questions in the comments. When you are here as a replay, treat it as though you're here live. Leave us comments, ask questions. Ameeta and I will be here throughout the day checking this post so that we can continue the conversation with you. All right. Now, without further ado, Ms. Ameeta, welcome.
Hello. Hi, everyone. How are you, Deborah?
I'm bursting. I'm so excited.
Me too. I'm excited about our conversation. All subjects. We can talk about anything you want.
Well, let's start off by letting them know a little bit about who you are. Share who Ameeta Jain is.
Okay, well, I'll give you the personal side first. I was born in London and moved here when I was 7 years old and have been here ever since, but I'm not going to tell you how long that's been. And I am a proud mom of 2 young adult children who make my heart soar. They make it melt. And so I'm just mush when it comes to my kids. And I've been happily, truly blessed with a partner in life within my husband for 27 years. And together we've, made these kids and created this incredible tech company. And so I'll get into the business side a little bit. So together 20 years ago, we started this tech business. And in the last 10 years, I've really been able to just pursue more of my passions when it comes to technology. And I've been involved in a lot of projects. The last 3 have been all about, when I realized it's been all about our kids. And their future and their safety and their learning and their progress. So that's been my passion. So I try to get involved in projects that advance our kids and their futures. And of course, with Women Up, it's just very early in my career, I've had this opportunity to really advance and help mentor young women in the industry. And so this just fits right in there.
I love that. You and I met years ago at an Inman Connect. We actually met through one of our fabulous lionesses here in the community, Katie Lance.
Yes.
And I think that you were actually one of her clients at the time. Is that right?
Yes, I was. Katie is awesome. Love her to pieces. She's so amazing, kind, and really was one of the first women in the industry to embrace me and help me and introduce me to people. So yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, and for those of you who don't know Katie, and I think you know this, Ameeta, but she's actually one of our keynote speakers during the conference. So while most of the 2 days are filled with women who are broker owners on their way to being broker owners, are executive leaders, we do pepper in professional speakers who have great experience kind of rocking out the stage. And what's so exciting, and it kind of makes me want to cry a little bit, is that Katie, so when we asked Katie to join us as a speaker, we said, we'd love for you to join us, but we don't want you to talk about social media. And she was like, really? We're like,
yes. Excited because she's probably had a ton to talk about.
Yes. And while we'll still, that'll still be part of the conversation in some way, shape, or form throughout the conference. Katie is she is a business launch twinsy with me. So we both started our companies on October 1st in 2012. And so this is a big year for us, right? 7 years in the business. And she's kind of been shifting into talking about her as a person, right? Like her podcast is doing that. And our Facebook lives really focus on that. We want to get to know the woman behind the role, the woman behind the company. And because we all know that we have choices, we have tech company choices, we have social media choices, we have consultant and coach choices, and getting to know each other is so important. And what Sarah and I have loved on this journey together is that every time we meet a new lioness, every time one comes into the pride space, whenever she is introduced from someone else in the community, it feels like we've known each other forever.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't have that, the time and space just disappears, and we immediately get connected. And Sarah and I both felt that way with you, because you leaned in.
Yes. It was magical. It was immediate.
Yeah. So let's talk about your first leadership role first, because there's some things with WomanUP that I think are going to really kind of weave into this. And I think it's a really fun first leadership role in the WomanUP community.
Well, okay. So I started my career super early. I was 21 when I graduated from college, and my very first job was with Toyota Lexus Financial Services. And I was actually picked out of 5,000 candidates nationwide, and I was the first female that was hired and the first minority hired. So I was a minority on top of a minority that was hired out of 5,000 candidates. It was a sought after position. It was a manager trainee position. It was a 2.5-year training program. And what they did is they gave me training in all aspects of corporate Toyota, and then even the different branches. And then when I graduated from this program, it sort of catapulted me into a management position. Yes. And which was very exciting at the time. And it was, I'm still, I think, in their brochures. I think, years later, I'm still in their brochure as one of their first female manager trainees. And that was exciting.
I love that.
Yes. And so when I graduated, they placed me in Virginia, and I helped open up that branch, and I was responsible for an entire, department when it came to loans and leases and bankruptcies and, all these things, all these aspects of business. So it's like I knew so much of everything, but not 100% of anything. And so that was part of my training. And then my husband got a job in Newport Beach, and we moved back to California. And at the time, I was either overqualified or underqualified. So I found a position with a private company in Newport Beach. Again, it was in the finance world. And that was amazing because I was able to see a company go from like 500 loans to 5,000 loans in a very short span. And this department, my department grew, and I was responsible for crossing the T's, dotting the I's in all our loans, securing our preferred ship mortgages. These were like these huge yachts that were $1 million or $5 million or $20 million, and
wow.
cars. Yes. So I had a huge responsibility in this company, and I ended up with 15 people underneath me and was doing a magnificent job. But I was also being sexually harassed by my VP. And yes. And when it finally came out, the way it came out was there was the owner, president, CEO, there was the senior VP, and then 6 VPs, and then manager role. And that's where I was. And my manager was a young man. And I was, without going into details, I went to the only female VP at the time, and I did not tell her I was being sexually harassed. I just told her that I couldn't get my job done. And these were the specific reasons why I couldn't get my job done. And she gave me this, well, let's start, doing everything via email and CCing other executives. And I thought, okay, I could try that, and deep in my heart, knowing that that wasn't going to really resolve my issue because I hadn't told her what was really happening. But that night she went home and told her husband that I had come to her. And it was her husband that said, she's being sexually harassed. Don't you get
Oh
that?
my goodness.
Yes, it was her
And
husband.
was this in the 90s?
This was in the 90s. This
Yeah.
was when I was 25 and a half years old and didn't have the voice, the confidence, the know-how that I have now. I had time management skills, organizational skills. I had know-how, but I didn't have these like other skills that you need to
Well,
manage.
who has those skills
I
before
didn't.
they need them, Ameeta? I mean, this is the thing. We've had so many stories over the years of people sharing about how they were being sexually harassed in the workplace, and in real estate. In the corporate side of real estate, it's the same as anywhere else, right? And in particular, in the 80s and 90s, when that was the first 2 decades, women were really stepping into management. Right. It's
Yes.
really the first time that we were stepping into the arena with men. And well, sexual harassment is never acceptable. It was accepted in that space for so long because women didn't really have a voice at the table that could say, we need to not allow this anymore.
Yes.
And so what I really love is that the husband recognized
Yes.
this and that he spoke that into her. I mean, that's talk about a powerful couple, like
Right.
that he could read between the lines without you even being in the room. And I feel like those advocates in our lives, those
Yes.
people that we will never really know fully, we can all be those people, right? We can always be that voice of reason and sanity and clarity in people's lives and say, here's what I'm hearing. Maybe you should ask her about this. So tell us, did she come back to the office and say, oh my gosh, is this what's happening to you? What happened?
7 a.m. in the morning, I had a voicemail and she said, you need to come see me right away. I'm going to speak to the senior VP. I know you're being sexually harassed. That was the voicemail. And so, of course, my heart starts beating and I'm not ready and I'm scared. And I sit in there with this lovely, lovely man in the senior VP's office with the one female VP that we had. And I had to relay some of these stories. They were like, come clean. And I am an open book. It's just, I don't have secrets. And so but it was still very difficult to relay some of, these stories, which I'll spare all of you because you've probably all experienced it yourselves in some way, shape, or form. And what ended up happening is my VP got a slap on the wrist. They kept me in the position, reporting to him, and said, if you feel any retaliation, come talk to us.
Oh,
and that was
for crying out loud.
That was the result of it. And so now I'm the whistleblower. And
sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but I love the air quotes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And being forced to continue to work under him, knowing full well there is going to be hell to pay for what I inadvertently did. And then I just thought, oh, something's got to give. I'm going to have to find a new job. And that change that I wished for came in a form of a surprise pregnancy.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. So that was really part of the path to your current role, right? Is this situation, happens at work. And I think that, for those of us who have had those situations, like, I feel like yours is very similar to a lot of the other powerful women that I know. It's like you're in it and you're thinking like, yes, I need to say something. And I know that this is going to hurt me. And, it's okay. I'm here. I'm going to move forward with this. And if something needs to change, I will be that change.
Yeah.
And that it's so interesting. Don't you wonder, like, those people, those executives that were in that room, I often wonder if they think now what if I would have done something differently? Would we have this huge Me Too movement? Would we have all of these issues had I really stepped up and protected the victims as opposed to shaming them into submission? Because that's really what that is. Just go back to your work, young lady, and if something happens, let us know. Really?
I know.
Really?
It was
Like, that's just
incredible.
ludicrous.
It was incredible. So I had this surprise pregnancy, and of course, I do everything the hard way. And I ended up having hyperemesis in the hospital, 4 months pregnant, 95 pounds, spotting, 104 temperature, and was on disability. So right after this happened, I found out I'm pregnant. I'm missing from work for 4 months. And when I finally come back, I think what happened is, for my VP that I reported to, it just kind of gave him and I this distance to really just think about all of what's transpired, and being in this pregnant state somehow is repelling. I don't know, for some men. And, he just kind of softened up and let me be. And as I gained my health back working, I knew that when this baby came, that I would be home with this child, that I only had 18 years to get this right. And for these really, these years, I didn't, work will be forever, but I wanted this for myself. And so I let
Yes.
my boss know that when this baby comes, there will be a change, and that maybe he should start looking for someone. And I knew that
I
financially
love it.
it would be hard for us, knowing that my husband wanted to start this tech company. And that's what I mean. Like, we did everything the hard way. We cut our salaries in half, with me losing, quitting this job, added expenses with a baby, and started this business, and worked super hard. And that was the beginning. And so I did the baby thing. I feel like I was pregnant for 2 years back to back. My kids are only 17 months apart. And yes, I said 2 weeks after my son was born, I said, well, if I'm going to do this mom thing, let me just do it. So I gave my body 9 months to heal, figuring it took me 9 months to grow him. And month 10, I took a pregnancy test, and I was pregnant. And so that's me, the planner.
Yes.
And
I love it.
yeah. And so when my daughter started preschool, I went back part-time. So the rule was always, when they're home, I'm home. And that lasted up until like junior high school, when we got into like some of these other companies, these passion projects that where I was working from the office and at home and in the car when I'm, driving them around, and just making it work.
I love that. Well, and I think that that's the conversation around, weaving in motherhood and being a spouse and being a daughter and being a friend, and really, mom, in particular in those 18 years, that's something that I believe women are still trying to figure out, right? Really, what does that look like? And how do we as a pride of lionesses, how do we help each other work through that? And so I love I love kind of the sassiness of you saying, I planned it, but it kind of happened unplanned. And then we took it to that next level. I think that that's great. So it doesn't always have to be perfect, but you can make the best of what comes towards you. And I think this is so beautiful. So let's talk about HomeSelfe RE, because that is one of the products that has come out of your real estate business. And I'm actually going to let you talk about that. I can hear my dog crying outside the door. So I want to go help him while you are sharing with the crowd what it is that HomeSelfe RE is. Okay. Sure, I'll be right back.
Absolutely. So HomeSelfe RE is HomeSelfe is really a passion project as well, because the whole goal behind HomeSelfe is to get homeowners to do a do-it-yourself energy audit so that they can become more energy efficient, reduce their utility bills, find that free money that most consumers don't know that's out there, to do some of these home renovations. And knowing that this is all out there, and with each home selfie that we can reduce our carbon footprint. Like I said, everything is about our kids. We're borrowing this planet from our children, and we have to return it back to them when our time is done. And so that's the home selfie. And we thought there's no better conduit for the home selfie than the real estate agent. I see it as a win for them, a win for the homeowner, and a win for our planet. That's how I'm viewing it. And the idea that a real estate agent, a realtor, brokerages can reach out to their community through the home selfie to learn how to lower utility bills, save money month over month, and to find that money to do those renovations is powerful. And it gives you a way to connect on a human level, really show that you care. Find a way to follow up that's not just your basic, do you want to buy or sell a home? And not really care about that homeowner beyond the transaction. So this really hits so many of those pain points that you're feeling when it comes to your audience. And so having this really fun digital gamified mock-up of a home, it takes 5 minutes. I know so many families that have done it with their children, running around answering these multiple choice questions. We've made it so easy. And when you talk about, we just had this conference and we talked about humanizing technology. Applied all of those concepts to the home selfie, making it easy, making it about the end user, making it so that the product is not weaponized, where you're being bombarded with sales calls after you do a home selfie. That does not happen. It's just about education and information. And agent being able to provide that is powerful. Having a way to follow up through the home selfie is powerful. Putting money back into a homeowner's pocket so that they have money to spend on other important things is powerful.
Well, and I'm not sure if you said this when I ran out of the room, but that you're nearing the 200,000 or the 100,000 home selfies, right?
Yes.
And all of the numbers that you have really kind of gathered in that. And I think, I know that our green Eileen obviously has connected with you, Eileen Oldroyd.
Yes, who's been an advocate of home selfies and do-it-yourself energy audits. Yes.
Yeah, and which makes perfect sense for Eileen, because we all know that she's very well, green Eileen. Hello. However, this is for anyone. You don't have to focus on green homes. You don't have to be in an area like Seattle that talks about tree hugging and eating oatmeal. This is for anyone. And I think that that's when Sarah and I really have conversations with potential sponsors, one of the key things that we're so passionate about inside this movement is that the values and the passion of the leadership align with really what we want to bring to the WomanUP community. I love when you said, it's not a weaponized app. People don't get bombarded. Their information isn't sold to a bunch of third party people. It really is about creating a relationship with the consumer, adding value. And the fact that it's 5 minutes and you can do it with your kids is so much fun.
Yes. And we've also, really thought about the realtor when we created this the home selfie for the agent, because we've sprinkled in questions for the homeowner. Are they looking to downsize, upsize, reduce their commute, buy investment property? So they're answering these questions for you. And based on that, we can identify this as a seller pre-lead or a buyer pre-lead. And within the home selfie, when you do the home selfie, we've created so much more. I always like, saying we've made the invisible visible. So you get data on that homeowner. Let's say, you're connected with a bunch of people on Facebook or Twitter, but you may not have their email addresses, phone numbers, their address of their home, a little bit of data on that home, bedrooms, bathrooms, appliances, doors, windows, insulation. It really goes over key areas. So you've got a lot of data on that homeowner, and we create an energy efficient features report, a smart home features report, so that when you make that phone call, make that connection, talk about the home selfie, ask if they need any vendor recommendations, follow up on those vendor recommendations. Hey, are you saving money now, like a few months later? So this is, I'm not saying that this is a long game, but there is no magic in getting leads. There is no magic. It's hard work, and it's about relationships.
Yeah.
Building those relationships will lead to greater business. And that is what, I'm trying to facilitate.
Well, and here's what I know, being in the real estate industry for the last 17 years has taught me, is that agents truly have a desire to keep connected to their clients. We know they want to. It's the how, and the how easy is it, right? Because I think with any entrepreneur, when we wake up, we're thinking about, who am I going to meet today? Who am I going to serve today? What do I need to do today? There isn't always a lot of thought on what's happening tomorrow, in 3 months, in 6 months, in 12 months. And what I love about what you and your husband have created with HomeSelfe RE is these are truly valuable conversations. They're value-based conversations as well. And so depending on what your core values as a company are, I'm guessing there's probably something in your core values that can be directly aligned to what HomeSelfe does, right? And that it can become actually woven into a business model, I think is priceless, because we do need valuable content to share with consumers. And we need to feel comfortable making that phone call, and that it's warm, and that it is going to help the consumer out. And so I think that's so much fun. Let's switch back to your career for a second. And I love, so Sarah and I asked you this ahead of time, and both of us were like, oh my gosh, this is probably our favorite answer of all time.
Really?
Yes. So the who has made a big impact on your career?
When I read that question, I was a little confused, and immediately I wrote out, I've made the impact on my career. And maybe what the idea behind that question was, women, men who have maybe inspired me, or helped me in some way, shape, or form. But honest to God, it is me that has pushed myself, picked myself up from the bootstraps. Like those days that I've been down, those days that I just don't know, I don't have the answers, the hard work, the late nights, the early mornings, all of those, that's me. And so I have had the biggest impact on my own career. And then second would be my husband. Watching him, learning from him, seeing the type of leader he is: gracious, kind, generous, intelligent. Oh my God, he's so smart, and gracious, and together as a team, we have been very respectful and gracious towards each other when it comes to decision making and involving each other in literally everything we do. So that's my answer.
I love that. Well, and I think that, why it stood out is because I believe we all have made the biggest impact on our own careers. But as most people do answer it as though it's someone else. And I loved how you said, I put in the hard work. I put in the ability to learn and grow every day, and that dedication around that. You suffered the blows. You learned from them. You came back from them. And I love the last few words you wrote, which were, you fought and used my voice. And used my voice. And I feel like that there's so much power in that, and that someone who's listening to this is going, Heck yeah, I have. Like that's
Mhm.
it's so beautiful, Ameeta.
Thank
And
you.
I think, I love that you include your husband in that. I think that that's great. But I also think that you standing up and claiming that is very, very powerful. And so thank you. Thank you
Well,
for
and
that.
that's what, we're both here for, is to just share our perspectives, and hopefully it resonates with everyone out there. And I have to say that being with you, Deborah, being around you has helped me really find the courage to compliment myself, and see
Yay.
the value that I bring to the table. I know that I need to do these things, but I think recently I've challenged myself to do it more. And I think that's actually where that answer came from, is that I have had the biggest impact on my own.
Yes, that's so huge.
So
When
thank
I talk about Moxie, Moxie has four really big words attached to it, and that's courageous, gracious, tenacious, and vivacious.
you. I love that.
And yeah, me too.
I love it. I love it so much. I think
And
I'm going
so
to
whenever
tattoo
I
it on
hear
me.
a woman like stepping into one of those kind of cornerstones of what I consider Moxie, it fills my soul tank, right? And because I know that not only is it happening to you, but it is happening to every person around you, because women were created to speak life into those around them.
Yeah.
Like men cannot do it in the same way. There is something that is
It's so
naturally a part of our
natural. Yeah.
DNA.
Yes,
Yes, and
it's
and we
natural.
we have to step into it. We have to step into how we can really walk into a room and truly connect others. And so I'm so honored that I've been part of that, even in the smallest way for you. So that's so wonderful. And so let's, like, obviously that's something that I love to teach, is about stepping into that and firing up your Moxie. How about you? What do you, when somebody gives you the mic and says, what do you want to share? What are you going to teach us? Like, what is your go-to topic or two?
I have realized that from the very beginning of my career, I have had this awesome responsibility and fortune when it comes to being put in front of a young woman in the very early stages of her career. And this awesome responsibility in guiding and teaching and leading by example, and really being the shoulder that they get to cry on, and being their light, their beacon, their guidance counselor, has been one of the greatest joys in my career. And it hasn't stopped. I've had this opportunity time and time again, and at Toyota, at this private company in Newport Beach, in our own company, the opportunities I've had to hire young women, and when they come to me with not just professional issues but personal issues,
Yes.
and having them trust me with their life and these decisions, and being able to be that sounding board, and knowing that, and having that honor of knowing that what I'm about to say is going to shape their course,
Yes.
and to do it with such responsibility. And I realized lately that that I've been able to do it with so much love, and knowing that this 25-year-old, 28-year-old gets all of this knowledge now at that age, and fast forward where they'll be at like my age, because of the knowledge and the guidance that I've given them, is so
Yes.
heartwarming. It fills my soul tank. It fills my
Mm.
soul tank. And I
Well,
didn't have a word
that's
for
one
it.
of the,
I
that's
didn't
a
have a word
huge
for it before you came along, my dear.
right. That's, I every time I hear someone else use the word, it like gives me little goosebumps, right? Because it seriously is one of the best words that I could have ever created for it, because we all love saying soul, and
Yeah.
we all know what a soul tank is when we say it. It's really interesting hearing you talk about being a mentor, right? But you haven't really used that word very much. It's really been like giving them advice and walking alongside them. And this is something that we've learned through the last few years at WomanUP, is that there are so many women out there who have so much knowledge and experience and wisdom to share. Yet when we ask them about like who they're mentoring or who their mentors were, they're like, I don't really have that. Like I didn't, like for some reason it feels disconnected in their world. Like they've not actually called these women that they've been mentoring their mentees or their proteges. And I was actually down on Friday last week speaking to the YPN forum and interviewing 3 of the lionesses in this community. So Carol Farrar was on there, Jessica Seguenza, and Barb Betts, about mentorship. And it was so interesting when I said, we all mentor and we all have mentees, and we need to claim those terms, because especially if we look at the progress of that term in a man's world, right? In the male designed corporate America, the mentor turns into your sponsor, and the sponsor is who helps you get to the next job, gets to the next board position, gets to the next, charity committee, whatever it is that you're seeking. A mentor is the person who turns into your sponsor. And so as you are growing these women, you will turn into their sponsor, right? You will turn into the person they come to and say, Ameeta, I've appreciated all of the mentoring you've given me. Here is what I'm looking for. And you, because of that relationship that you've created, have the faith and the trust in who they are. Right. And that's so powerful. Now, I should have asked you this off camera, but I'm going to ask you now. Have you joined the mentoring group as a mentor or a mentee? Have you joined that on the WomanUP group yet?
I thought I did. If I haven't, I'm going to. And if there's
no shame if you hadn't. I was just curious if you had been paired yet with someone. So for those of you who have not joined, it's such an easy process. It literally takes 3 to 5 minutes to fill out these cute little, they're like Monopoly cards at the end. They just have your photo, a little bit about you. So if you're hearing things from Ameeta and you're thinking, I want more of Ameeta in my life, it's a great place to start, is create a mentor relationship with her. And anyone who's been part of this group has the ability to join that mentorship platform. And we're loving seeing these pairings happening, Ameeta, because we know that at the end of this month, when we all get together in San Diego, that you're going to be able to meet these women in person.
Yes.
And I mean, the joy, we know what it feels like when we met each other once before or had a couple conversations and we see each other for the first time in person since all the epicness has happened. And so we're looking forward to those, like running through the hallways, big embraces and squeals like, we're here. So don't miss out on that opportunity. And so speaking of WomanUP, I know that you personally have a heart for WomanUP for all of the reasons we've already talked about, but help us understand what it was inside you that when Sarah and I were talking to you about it, where you were like, I need to get HomeSelfe RE involved in this, and we want to become sponsors. Like, why is it that you decided to do that?
I think that, for sure, HomeSelfe RE, the people behind it, the company, it aligns with the mission of HomeSelfe RE, which is to lift, support, encourage leadership roles. And I do believe women really have a chance to make this world such a better place. And if we can support each other and not tear each other down, and do it with grace and respect and patience, and we can really, really make a difference. And we're all the same, really. We all have so many shared experiences, and we can learn so much from each other. And I love what you and Sarah have done together in a very, very short period of time, which really speaks to how much this is needed, how much it's wanted, and how important it is. And so, whether I stay in the RE space or not, it doesn't matter. You have someone in me that will be your cheerleader. And when I say your cheerleader, I'm saying women, a cheerleader for women. And if there's anything that I can do to support you in any shape or capacity, I'm here for you.
I love that. And one of the beautiful things that is coming out of this movement that I really feel was unexpected, but it's not a surprise, is these exact sentiments coming from women who are CEOs, who are broker owners and executives, who've been the onlys in their space for so long. They're leaning in, saying, yes, yes, yes. What do you need? How can I help? And we couldn't do it without you, right? I mean, the reason that Sarah and I, alongside Leslie and Bernice, who really help with all of the research and the interviews and all of the things that happen behind the scenes, and then the team at CAR, there's only so much that each of us can do in our days. And so we really depend on our amazing sponsors and speakers to help us. And it's almost disarming how beautiful it is when you are leading something like this and you open your Facebook and you see yourself tagged in 10 or 20 posts that you didn't even solicit about the movement. It's one thing when you ask people, hey, can you share this? But it's another thing when people are in their day-to-day lives and think, I want to share this. This would be great for a WomanUP. This person needs to be part of it. And so we're so forever grateful. Now, what are you looking forward to personally the most at WomanUP?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm looking forward to continuing to nurture the relationships that I'm building and to start new ones and to, just be part of such a great movement. I want to support and help in any way I can. So I'm really looking forward to just being there and meeting people, learning from them. That's it, really.
I love it.
There's no agenda.
Well, and we're not talking about what you're talking about, but you are going to share something really powerful on stage. And I'm so excited for these lionesses to hear this. We have four kind of very distinct types of talks this year. And you're joining us to do one of the W3s, which was really kind of created and designed this year while we were on the road. And W3 stands for WomanUP Wave Making Wisdom. And I think what I'm most excited about with the topic that you're talking about and the fact that you're doing it in this hardcore mic drop session is that when you have something important to share with the world and you have, 3 or 4 minutes to say it, you bring it right down to the core.
Yes.
And it is so powerful and so focused that I'm so excited for everyone who's listening now or listening in the replay who has already purchased their ticket to hear this story that Ameeta is going to share. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited for that. Okay. So I'm not going to tease any more on that. I would like to do a little rapid fire before we close up. So are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. So who is your Shiro?
Oh, well, I mean, it's got to be Greta, the 16-year-old fierce fighter who's got this incredible voice using this platform. She is beyond, she's epic. And I love that she doesn't back down, and she's doing it while dealing with the misogyny and the chauvinism and just the, anti-science climate denier. She's a powerhouse. And the fact that she won't smile and she's angry and that you get to see her anger, she's my hero. She is my hero for sure.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
she has every right to fight for her future. She has
Yes.
every right to fight for her very first home, which is the planet. So more
Yes.
power to her.
Yes. And I love that, again, it's so perfectly, your Shiro weaves right into your
Yes.
core values
Yes.
of future generations,
Yes. Our
right?
kids.
Future generations is something you're very passionate about. I love that. I think that's beautiful. Okay. Do you have a book on your nightstand? And if so, what is it?
So I started this book when I was on vacation. It's called Eleanor Oliphant, and I haven't really got into it. But the next book that I want to get into is Gutsy Women. I think it's by Hillary and Chelsea Clinton, and they just put out
Oh,
a book. It's, I think, 100 stories about super, super amazing, gutsy women, and I cannot wait to read that and be inspired by it and learn from it.
yes, I'm looking forward to reading that one too. Okay, so we also always ask about podcasts. So do you have any favorite podcasts that you're listening to right now?
Well, most recently I've listened to yours, and I know that's not you trying to plug your podcast, but
No, but I appreciate it.
I would actually like to reach out to anyone that's listening for advice on when they have time to listen to podcasts. Um, because I have a 2 mile drive to work, and then I'm at work and meetings and emails and meetings. And I don't know, I can't like listen to a podcast and write an email at the same time. So how do you guys do it? I need to find this time, and by the
Yeah.
way, when I could be listening to podcasts, you've gotten me hooked on Outlander now. So thanks, Deborah, for that.
Well, you know what? I don't feel bad about that because there's nothing wrong with the little Jamie and Claire.
Oh my gosh, it's a guilty pleasure.
Oh my God.
And I love
Right?
those period pieces, right? I love period pieces. So,
Well, and I don't know how far along you are, but part of the magic of the series is that you have a lot of Scotland, and then you have a little France, and then you have a little this and a little that.
and
So,
England
anyways,
is
I love it.
British, and I was born in London. So, every time they say British subject, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me.
That's me. I love it. I've got a couple of hacks for you
Okay.
as we're waiting for the ladies to share, what do they listen to? How do they get it in? So one of the things that I do is I listen to my podcasts when I take walks, right? And it helps me actually get my walks in because I want to listen to the podcasts, right? And I like you. I mean, it's very difficult for me to listen to something and actually do work. So I can't write and listen to a podcast. That makes no sense. I also listen to podcasts on 1.5 to 2 times their natural speed.
Oh.
And it's so I can get through a 20-minute podcast in about 10 minutes, maybe 11 minutes. And it takes a while for some people to kind of get into the flow with listening to it fast. But for me, it's awesome. So I listen to it all the way through. And if I get to the end and I'm like, okay, there were a couple of really great nuggets, I'll go through and I'll listen to it again. And I've learned this extra hack. So if I'm listening to something, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. I screenshot where I am in the podcast. So I'm on my walk, I'm hearing, her giving this amazing advice. I screenshot and then I come back later and I listen to it at regular speed and write a couple of notes. But it allows me to get more in. I do the same with Audible. Actually, were you in the room when Ryan Gorman was talking about how he listens to his books 3 times the speed? I was like, I don't know how he does that. I mean, I can't hear anything after 2.5. So he's got some like epic,
he's amazing.
Auditory skill.
I loved his talk. He was amazing. So everything he has to say is pretty good.
Yes, he is hope for the future when it comes to having the masculine and feminine energies at the same table, right? Like he really, things that he talks about are bridge conversations. It's so beautiful. I know Sarah and I always love listening to him, and I'm so glad that she got him on at Broker Conference this year. Okay, so how about sad to say, but we need to.
Oh, it went by so fast.
And I know it does. So how about your parting words of wisdom for the WomanUP community for now until they see you in a few weeks down in San Diego? What's on your heart to share?
So real quick, I have struggled with this idea or this of what a CEO, an executive, a president, a VP is supposed to look like and supposed to be doing. And one of the things that I love is food, and I love making it. And I literally take out an hour and a half to 2 hours a day to prepare these dinners. And it's not just about like the meal itself, but it's everything that goes around it, sitting around the table with my kids, my husband, and really just connecting over this food. And when I'm sitting there chopping and stirring and sauteing, I feel this level of guilt as an executive that, I'm taking this time out when I could be making phone calls, making deals, kicking ass. And I'm not doing that. I'm cooking a meal. And it's made me, really sometimes feel bad that I'm making this choice. But it was only recently that I realized that, what, it's okay. We should kind of, shatter this image of what we think a CEO, executive, or a leader should be doing or behaving like. This is me. This gives me peace. This gives me happiness. It gives me joy. And it's great for my health to be making these homemade meals. And so I've come to terms lately, this is an epiphany that I had lately, that these stereotypes that we have of these executives need to go out the window. And who I am an executive, and I make meals, and that's okay. It's okay.
Amen.
And so that's something that I would like everyone to really think about is there something that you're feeling guilty about? And if you're feeling guilty about it, like, should you be? Should you be? And most probably the answer is no, you shouldn't be. And to just embrace it. And once you do, you'll gain this inner peace. And that's what I have. And I have to say, I make the most yummiest meals, and they make me so happy.
I love this. And what I love about it is that, stop shoulding on yourself, right? That whole concept of shoulding on yourself. I should be doing this instead of this.
Yes.
Because if you value time with your family, I know, knowing you have such a passion for your family. Like, they are if there's a number before number one, they are your, whatever that number is.
Exactly.
Like, you just have such a passion and love for them. And one of the ways you show that passion and love and caring is through food. And I think what's stunning to me in this is that there are so many women out there who feel the exact opposite, Ameeta. They're saying, I should be cooking food. What's wrong with me? Why am I going out and buying food? And you're on the other side going, I'm making this food. I should be buying food because I would have more time.
And phone calls and, doing what executives do at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and, burning the midnight oil, but I'm taking time out to do this. And some women, like that 5 a.m. run is super important, and they'll drop everything for that. And that's awesome, as they should. And now I'm giving myself that same grace in allowing myself to fulfill this passion that I have.
Yes. Well, and we've kind of peppered in the conversation around male designed. And I think that, we as women have been trying to fit into a male designed space, male designed roles, male designed corporate structures. And it now is the time for us to all independently design it for ourselves. And it doesn't have to be female designed. It can be me designed, what works for me, what works for my family, and what's important to me. And I think the more we kind of open the kimono and share what that looks like for each of us, it allows others to say, okay, I like that. I would like a piece of that in my design.
Yes.
I don't need that, but I do need this. And so we make each other feel comfortable and confident in creating our own spaces and our what our own perfect day and life and the best version of all those things is, so we can truly live it out loud on purpose and on our own terms, no one else's.
And it's very personal. It's very personal for each one of us.
Yes, yes, yes. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to make sure that everyone who is still listening, hello,
Hello.
if you haven't purchased your tickets for Woman Up, please go and do that. We want to make sure that we have space for you in the room. Also, if you are planning to spend the night, there are rooms available at the Lowe's on Thursday and Friday night if you're coming in, if you're local. If you do need a room on Wednesday night, we have a glorious hotel that's right down the street called the Glorietta Bay. It looks like something out of Gone with the Wind. It is an incredible. And we do have, of course, a shuttle that will bring you back and forth to the hotel. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for you, but get your tickets. And Ameeta, I know that you have a sponsor page and a sponsor code that we can drop in underneath here so that anybody who's listening today can take advantage of your sponsor code and get their special deal to get their ticket. We're at about 55 or 60% capacity at this time. And we know how it happens at about this hour is everyone starts purchasing their tickets. So we want to make sure that you get your ticket before we sell out like we do every single year. So get your ticket, get your room, get your flight, wrangle your business besties, and join Ameeta and all of the amazing, wonderful sponsors and speakers down in San Diego.
We want you there.
Yes. Yes. Ameeta, can't wait to meet you in person. Can't you tell?
Can you tell?
I love it. I love it. All right, my darling. Thank you so much for sharing with the lionesses
It's been
and
a
our bold
joy
men.
talking to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my dear.